Alright, so you may notice that's not my charger. I wasn't really looking for parts yet, but I joined a couple of charger groups. Saw this guy put up a couple of doors and a nose for sale, and just said best offer on it. And messaged him. I guess somebody's already spoken for the doors, but I asked him if I could come out and look at the nose, and he told me, sent me some pictures. He said it's rough, and he clarified that like 3 times in the messages that it was in rough condition. And I saw it at least had the grill in it, and I was like, even if it's just a crappy grill to like fill the hole in mine in the meantime, I figured that was worth something anyway. So I came out. Sure enough, it's exactly what he described. The hood's bent, and the understructure's all rotted. The fenders are all rotted. The valance is rotted, and stuff like that. But it's got a couple of bits and pieces that I might be able to, or should be able to use on mine. Mainly, at least, be in the center of the grill. Even if it's just in the meantime, while I'm looking at it collecting parts, I can graft in this center section because it's all one piece. But let's take a quick look at it, and then I'll tell you what I got it for. So, and then he messaged me last night because I came out yesterday, but I didn't have a truck with me. I just had my car, and he messaged me last night and said he left out the hood springs for me, and he left out the whole hood hinges, which is good because I had to cut both of mine. So that's awesome. And if you look, fender is rotted up here. That's not that bad. This fender on mine's not terrible. It does have some holes and a bunch of mud in it already there. Some mud in the middle, and you can feel some rot behind there. And I think that's about it. I think this front edge, yeah, this front edge is all bowed here, but it's a workable fender. This one is the one I really need, and this one's pretty wasted all down in the whole edge and all rotted and mudded over there, where mine is rotted up here and rotted down the bottom here. But the benefit is this all has to be replaced, but mine's missing. So at very least, if I want to make this panel, I can make a full proper template because all the edges are there, where mine's just missing. And then up here, my fender is like totally gone all up in here, so I should be able to cut off this section and fix my fender with that, some of it anyway. And you can see the front filler panel is rotted there, and rotted down around there, but the sides are good. And I know at least mine on this side is all Swiss cheese, and I think down the bottom. But even if I can use this as a patch panel and then make the bottom piece on mine, it's all that much less. And the grill, you can see the grill's busted up here, the bumper's bent here, that's why it's busted there. But the center grill is pretty decent. It's just missing a small couple of pieces there. It is all broken free in the bottom, but it's better than mine that's totally missing. And this headlight door on mine is jammed up and it's all loose, so I don't know if it's busted or if it's just not mounted, so maybe I might be able to use this. So at very least, a couple of patches off the fenders. Yeah, so at very least, it's a couple of patches off of that fender, patches off of the lower valance panel if I can't find one of those, because you got to keep in mind they don't make these fenders, they don't make them aftermarket, so you gotta fix them, find them, whatever, and there's not a lot of them. So yeah, so it's a usable bumper. You could straighten that corner. It's a usable bumper. I think mine's really nice, so I probably don't need the bumper, but I do need most of the grill stuff, which I should be able to kind of make a semi-okay one out of the two. And then like even like little things like mine's missing this rubber insert here. So yeah, and then my hood's wasted, this hood's wasted. But if nothing else, I can do a rough job straightening this, I can make a wall hanger for the garage up on the ceiling or something like that, which I love the look of these hoods anyway. And I'll show you the underside of it real quick. Yeah, so you can see it's all rotted in here. It's all rotted here. It's all rotted over there. And all in there. And back at the hinges on both sides. And whatnot. But I figure I'll take it all. The price, it's a good price. Basically, when I showed up and I started looking over, he's like, and he found out that I actually had a charger and I'm not just flipping the parts. He's like, well, if you want it, you can have it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, for free? He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't want anything for it. I know it's in rough shape. You can just have it. I was like, well, I appreciate it, but there's a couple of things. And like at the point, I was figuring it was at least the center section of the grill. So I was like, it's still cheap, but I told him, I was like, I'll at least give you $100, you know. And he tried to refuse that even. And I had to tell him a few times that I wanted to give it to him, and then finally he took it. So we just got to get it all taken apart today and loaded up, and let's see if we can get it before the heat cranks up too much. Since I left my house, the temperature's already come up 15 degrees. We're already up mid 80s. So let's get this thing taken apart and into the bed of the truck. There's still deals out there. You just got to keep an eye open, and you got to be able to run and go deal with them right away. And I know you may not think it's a smoking deal, but I know that I'm excited about the grill, and I'm at least excited about a patch panel off of that fender. Those are the two things totally worth my time and investment. And you never know, I may pull the bumper off and I may find there's a rotted bracket behind it that I need a bracket off of this one or something like that, because this is a 68 and he wants to put a 68 nose back on it. That's why the nose is coming off. The car's not being potted out. The doors that he has are off of something else. So let's get to it. Well, that wasn't too bad for a car that's been off the road for 40 years. I think it said 47 minutes that it took on the time-lapse recording. And I will say, there are two bolts that are terrible on these, on a crusty car. Very thankful they actually came out and I didn't have to figure out a way to get in there and cut them. But absolutely terrible. Like most cars, like they'll have an extra fender bolt that goes down in here. You open the door jamb and you can get to it. This one's here, so the fender comes over it and it's got a stud that sticks down. So you can't get to it from here. And then, oh, the door shut, latched. But when you open the door comes in about into here. So you gotta try and get between the two with a swivel and a socket to get in there. I will say, that's a terrible one. But I'm very, very thankful for all the bolts that did come out. And the worst ones that I had to cut off, one was right up top here, so I was working up top. Another one was right here, so I was working up top. And then all the ones on the bottom valence. Now I know the bottom valence is pretty crusty. I could have just cut it in half in pieces, but I don't know if they're readily available for a 70 Charger. And I know mine has some good parts, some bad parts, so maybe between the two. So I took the fenders with the valence off as one assembly and got it on the ground, and then I was able to get in there and cut them comfortably. Because one of the things I forgot was safety glasses. So yeah, so I had to cut these two, and then I had to cut all 5 on that side. And like you can see, the whole bottom of the valence is wasted, but the side's good. And then this side over here, the side's good, but the bottom under the light is all bad. And just as mine has a replacement fender on the driver's side, the passenger's side, and stuff's loose and not lined up right and whatnot like that. And I know it's missing this rubber gasket, but I bet you it's missing all this stuff too. So that's why it's nice getting some of this stuff sometimes, because you got this. And then I know that headlight assembly is super loose on mine, so I don't know if it's rotted, missing hardware, or what. And then the lenses on both my marker lights are smashed out of it from people shooting at it. So I got the 2 lenses there. So that was all good. So now let's try and Tetris it all in the car. Well, that's it. Said the motor's locked up, but I still wanted to cover it up. So I put a contractor bag on it, some boards he had over here, and got the door shut, top pulled back over, being respectful, like we all should be. And very thankful. And thanks again for the parts. And Phil, you're awesome, Phil. I appreciate it. There'll be a couple of pieces that will definitely get used. Like I mentioned, those fender brackets, the center of the grille, and probably a patch panel off the left side fender anyway. So it'll come in handy. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I think I'm missing the apron piece behind the fender. So I'm going to take a video of it right now. So if I'm at a swap meet later on, I can click on my YouTube video and see what it looks like. So yeah, this is an extension right here. So the bolt hole there, it goes all the way down. Got a bolt hole down there, a couple of bends, and then like a gasket up there to keep debris out. But even that, able to document that and see what I might be missing. So we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna get Riley back and get him into the AC, because the AC is not working in the truck. So we'll get back, get this stuff unloaded, and continue the day. But just want to document another awesome find. Not everybody's out to rake everybody over the coals and get $1 million for some piece of crap and stuff like that. So I appreciate Phil. Phil, I appreciate you being out there. And yes, he is restoring this thing. He's got all the brand new frame rails back there. I won't invade his space, but he's got brand new frame rails. He's starting to cut it apart back there. He's got some braces welded in. He's well underway to get going on this thing. I know somebody had posted a picture of this car before, and some people were saying, oh, it's never going to see the road again and stuff like that. Well, he's building it right now. The reason why he sold the nose off of it is he's going to be putting a 68 nose back on it. So anyway, thanks again for checking in, and hope you guys enjoyed this. And basically, keep your hopes up. Once in a while, there'll be good people out there selling stuff. Not everybody's out there to, like I said, rake you over the coals. And we will get Riley back to the AC and call it a day. All right, so it's the next day. We're back at the house with the parts we got, with the charger. Now, I kind of already went over these for the most part. I'll just touch base on one of them. We did get some rain, so I got to flip these over. I gotta get them all unloaded anyway. But you can see where that's rotted right over the wheel well. That's the driver's side one that I really need a lot of material out of. And then the reason why they rot up top, that's the top of the fender. They put an extra brace that's just 1/8 of an inch or less off of the panel underneath. They all rot back there near the cowl. I'll show you where that is. So that brace is right under here, and they typically all have rot right around there. But so this is the bottom of one where there's a good chunk missing. This one I could probably figure that out, but if I need to make the template I could. And then this side of this valance, I could definitely use this whole side of that valance for it. And then this is where it's missing that rubber gasket, and I guarantee you it's missing those other brackets that we saw in there. And you can see that I didn't realize, but these headlight doors are all mangled also. But the grill, this is all one piece. The whole centerpiece and all back here is all one piece. So this one's gone, wasted, kicked out, shot at, and this headlight door was stuck up. I just fought that down, and this one's bad also. But the corner right here, where that one's all busted, this one's got a good enough amount of meat, I think, to fix that other grill. So I think between the two, we'll be able to get something decent. And then this fender here, it's all rotted out around this marker light. Like, I don't even know what's holding it back in. So I'll definitely be able to use part of that fender for there. That's the same area where that big pile of Bondo is. But then this is the bottom where it's missing. So that's where that other one will come in handy, making a template. And then this inner brace is bad also. So I'll probably be able to use the inner brace off of the other fender. And you can see this one here has got a little bit of rot up the top edge here, where that's double paneled and stuff up here. But yeah, so that's the charger haul. Anybody that knows, oh, also you can see both the marker lights are smashed out of it, so I need the sockets and the lenses for those. So those are good to get out of that other one. And that has one of the marker lights down in the front apron there, whatever you want to call it. So that was the quickie haul. And I know a lot of that stuff is bad, but there's a lot of random stuff that's good. And oh, one other thing I left out here, I didn't cover when we were getting it out of the ground, but some of the work that we had to do to get the back drums off, mainly Sean and Matt were in the back. That's how bad they brutalized one drum to get it off. And then the other one, they brutalized it to start getting it off, and then they cut the whole thing right in half. And look, factory jack was in there. Those used to be worth big money. This one's all rotted though. And then there's one of the factory hubcaps. So anyway, this will actually be the end of this video. So just figured I'd check in with a fresh walk around on the car where some of those parts will be used, and the condition of the parts on the car, and so on. So anyway, thanks again for stopping in and watching. Next video will probably be, well, the next video is going to be cleaning out the inside, getting all that dirt and everything, because the dirt's right up to the, right up to the sills on the side and right up to the top of the transmission tunnel. So we'll work on getting that out, and we'll see what the floors look like from the inside. Like I mentioned before, Probably all scaly, probably totally trash. I don't know, but we're about to find out.